You know, last year I was unsure and I felt maybe I didn't know what I was doing at this presentation. At first, I admit, I was afraid. I was petrified. Thinking, could I do this thing no one ever tried? Then I spent so many nights thinking how this could go wrong. And I grew strong. And I learned how to get along, and now I'm back. But in that spirit, I want to say I embrace the Dalai Lama's words when he says, know the rules so that you can break them effectively. I have learned a great deal over the last year and a half that I've been on council. I want to thank my mayor for working together on so many important projects for the city. The collaborative nature with your office has been incredible. Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank my council colleagues because downtown is everybody's district. And I want to say I very much appreciate working with every one of my council colleagues, because what you're going to see today is really the hard work of the entire city council and the mayor. Now, speaking of which, we also have a great city manager and her staff. It's been a real pleasure to work with you. It's been a real pleasure to work with her staff. We've accomplished so many things. We're really moving this city forward. I want to thank my staff. They're pretty tired today because we're really working quite a bit, but thank you to my staff. You guys never let me down. I really appreciate that. I want to thank Centro and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for putting on this event, for highlighting the importance of the state of the Center City. What does that mean? It means that this is the kind of thing that is helping to shape our city. It's the heart of our city. And so thank you, Centro. Thank you, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Pat DiGiovanni, Ramiro Cavazos. I especially want to thank Roseanne Garcia, who's in the back. She helped edit this video that I think you're going to appreciate. Thea Cerebro as well, and the entire communications department. I learned a lot about collaborations and the great people here in San Antonio, and I really, really love this job. The state of the Center City is best told through a unique and diverse perspective. This is a genuine tale of our downtown. This video is brought to you unscripted and straight from the heart. But before we get to this video, I want to unveil something I think is really kind of special. In the back, if everybody can turn their attention to the back here, Ms. Leticia Bassett, our city clerk, is about to unveil the original plat of the Alamo. And I welcome you to come see it. There she is. She's done some extensive work to get it restored, get it protected. And this is very important to us because I've said it many times. Our history is our most important asset here in San Antonio. So please take some time when you can, but we have a very long film, I guess you'd call it, to show. And so with that, I say let's get it rolling. Thank you. Please enjoy.
Get in the van, put on your seatbelt. Someone's gonna have to drive. But who are all these strangers in here tonight? Then a German with eyes wet with tears starts to drive. A coup d'etat, Teutonic smile, your hand, your hips, a plunge neckline. Watch your back, go watch your back, take a sip or not. All consensus, choose consensus, eludes us. Consensus, choose. You held your past, you stayed. You voted, you chose, you caved.
pre-K for SA has been an important initiative, and we had our students talking about it. I went out with the CEO of Toyota, and we did team presentations about the importance of early childhood education. Being down here at the UTSA downtown campus is like being in an urban laboratory. And I direct the Mexico Center and the Child and Adolescent Policy Research Institute. And we've collaborated with some of the preschool programs. The Inman Christian Center is one. And we had some of our graduate students actually spending 9 hours a week in the classrooms with the teachers there, helping them set up their centers, their lesson plans, hands-on, showing activities that they would like for the teachers to learn how to do, or the teachers want to learn how to do. And so our graduate students in early childhood education were modeling the things they learned in the classroom for the teachers who are in the trenches, in the urban areas here, helping our lowest income families, our lowest income kids. And we just submitted a big proposal to help our juniors transferring in from the community colleges, or our UTSA honors students and our undergraduates to go on to do research and graduate studies in education. So there's a lot going on at the downtown campus.
Yes, and so it's exciting listening to Dr. Romo describe the projects. It's interesting, we're very different and yet so similar in the way that we connect with the city. There's a brand new project that's launching that's going to use a Fox Tech campus, and we're partnering with the San Antonio Independent School District. Trinity University faculty and graduate students will be working there to turn it into a K-12 professional development campus, so that we will have teachers in the San Antonio Independent School District working there, but also we'll be training future principals, school teachers, looking at effective educational methods. And the focus here is on high-achieving students throughout the district who want to be in that kind of a challenging learning environment. So it's a really exciting moment. It would not be possible if it weren't for support from the city. The City Educational Partners Program provided the funding that makes it possible for us to do this wonderful project.
I think UTSA is doing a similar thing with dual language learners. So they're helping the San Antonio School District focus on some of the issues of our young people who come to school, who are either from a home where English is not spoken all the time, or they're new arrivals, and how language barriers can be overcome in the classroom with the support of people in the university and our excellent teachers in the school district.
So I'd say one of the things when I think about Trinity, the effort to look at the ways that we're helping our students be very prepared for a very multilingual world. Most of our students are taking some kind of a foreign language. We have a very robust program called Mexico, America, Spain. Tonight we're having the dinner for all the scholarship students who have been doing that. But the goal is to have our students be connected with our city, to have projects where they're going out and they are using the way that Dr. Romo described the city is a laboratory. You know, our students live here in the city, they want to get back to the city, and it's really crucial that as they are acquiring skills, they're not academic things for a special setting, but meant to be lived in everyday life.
Well, thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. City of San Antonio, history is our most important asset. Tell us exactly why it's important. History and heritage is something that we need to cherish and protect.
Well, I think from the city viewpoint, certainly it's sort of the same old adage that if we don't know where we've been, how do we know where we want to go? And so, you know, from our perspective, from the archaeological, you know, we really want to make sure that we preserve and protect these valuable resources that are really the founding of our city.
Well, when we look particularly at our 5 missions and what they have done to form the city of San Antonio, I like to tell people that it doesn't matter whether you're a 7th generation San Antonian or if you just moved here 2 months ago, the missions have shaped who you are as a person and as a citizen of San Antonio. You can't escape it. The streets are laid out the way they are because of the acequias or the irrigation systems of the Spanish. The cultural landscape that we all live with today is the way it is because of the missions. So we are all descendants of the missions in that sense.
Most recently, we did work here where we're standing as part of the Presidio of San Antonio. So we did a lot of excavations below the Plaza de Armas buildings, which revealed the second site of the Presidio. And of course, Councilman, as you know, something you were involved in, we have found what we believe to be the probable first site of Mission San Antonio de Valero on the grounds of the Christopher Columbus Italian Society. So that would be the first location of Mission San Antonio de Valero.
And that's what we're celebrating, the 300-year anniversary,
We are,
right?
right. And 2018 is our 300th anniversary, and so those are the three founding sites of the city. Even before the missions were here, we had the Presidio, the Mission San Antonio de Valero, which is a part of the World Heritage Site, and the Villa that was founded in 1718.
One of the reasons we sought World Heritage designation, because it's that extra stamp of approval that makes people aware that, oh yeah, we really, really need to take care of these. And of course the city has a long history of protecting our resources through their ordinances and their overlay zones, and that puts us a bit ahead of other cities when it comes to protecting our cultural heritage.
We've had a very strong code, and I think there's a growing interest, particularly in lieu of the World Heritage, to continue that tradition. Because if you ask people why they come to San Antonio, most of the times the answer I hear when I travel is because we love your history.
Well, thank you again. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman.
We're talking about homeless in our downtown area. As we know, there's strategies in place to address this issue, and it's an ongoing issue for downtown, which is why we formulated the Impact Team.
Right, and so the community homeless plan really blends law enforcement with human services, and the Impact Team has been essential in really keeping the touch with those people who choose to live on the street, have refused services. One of the initiatives the Department of Human Services is coordinating is the Mayor's Challenge to End Veteran Homeless, and the Police Impact Team has really been essential in helping us locate those veterans that we haven't seen in a few days, or contact them, provide the outreach in order to try to bring them in for services. It's been a very important partnership.
Sure. The Impact Team is a new holistic approach to addressing the homeless issue. What we have about a 5-person impact team. We have a officer from the mental health unit. We have an outreach person from the Haven. We have a mental health person from the Center for Healthcare Services. We have an EMS person from the fire department. What they do is they travel around downtown and the outskirts of downtown, and they address each and every homeless person that they come across. So we provide a well-rounded list of services for them. Many of them take advantages of those services. Others don't. And if they're not in any type of danger, then we just leave them where they are and go on to the next person.
Well, Haven for Hope is really one of our key partners in our efforts around homelessness. The city invests in Haven for Hope, and we are engaged in a lot of policy and initiatives with Haven for Hope. They're really essential to having a place to take people and getting people into services once they get there. They have been able to provide so many customized services, whether someone needs mental health treatment, addiction treatment, if they're LGBT youth who have nowhere to stay, they have a place for them. They've really provided a lot of specialized services so that when someone has a special need, there's an option for them at Haven for Hope.
And we, hey Ron, and we do separate them out, the homeless population from the people who are committing crimes. Our bicycle patrol officers downtown do a great job in making a distinction between those two populations.
I think you guys are both doing a great job. Thank you for what you're doing for the homeless situation in downtown San Antonio.
Thanks, Councilman.
Thank you. downtown, that's seeing more and more housing, more and more people living downtown. What does healthcare mean for a growing downtown?
Our main focus for the population that's changing and growing here is all around quality, safety, and the patient experience.
Downtown living, it gives opportunity for exercise. There's more walkability,
Right.
Bicycling, and we also have the Cyclovia every year downtown. So we open up the entire downtown for just biking, walking, strolling, however one can make it. The handicapped is also participating.
Everyone is important. Our mission statement, part of our mission statement includes accessible to all, and that really means a lot to us. We're very proud of the fact that recently we were designated by the Human Rights Campaign Foundation for our leadership status. We're the only hospital in San Antonio or South Texas to achieve leadership status in regards to LGBT, taking care of LGBT patients, and that means our policies, procedures, practices, and education we do for our amongst our employees means that we are doing that the right way, and we're working very hard on that. It's very important to us and important to our community, especially close by here in the downtown area. Again, it's exciting what's happening, but I think we still have challenges, huge challenges, but with those challenges are continuing great rewards, and we still need to continue to work very hard from the healthcare standpoint to look outside our four walls of our hospital, continue to work on making sure that our population is receiving the best quality care that they can receive, make sure that when they do come into the hospital that they're receiving that care in the most safe way that they can, make this a place that they can come, live, work, receive health care, and not have to go anywhere else.
I think one of the biggest things that downtown offers is active living. And we have active living, that lends itself to active health. And that, we can't really say enough about that. And we partner with the hospital systems, and they do a great job of helping us to manage, for example, diabetes. We have a diabetic problem in San Antonio. So again, that self-management and that activity, reducing obesity, all those things add to wellness.
Right. Methodist Healthcare really believes in the downtown area and the Center City area. We've spent millions of dollars over the past few years in investing in this campus, and we're continuing with that. One of the real exciting things that we've got going is public art. And so later in May, we're going to be unveiling a piece of public art on our signature corner right there at Brooklyn and McCullough. And we're excited for that to be a signature piece of art for our city. Traditionally, hospitals has been, we take care of people once they get to our door. We're working real hard with our community, like we mentioned with the homeless Haven for Hope. We're also proud members of Tobin Hill Community Association, and so we're working very hard with them on looking outside our four walls to help our communities.
And nobody wants to end up at a hospital, but
Nobody wants to get out.
But we're sure glad that there's some
we're here when you need
procedures.
us.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
We're here when you
All
need
right.
us. Yes.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
We invested a whole lot of money, a whole lot of effort, really, in getting this beautiful convention center. What does it mean to the city to have this convention center? What does it mean to tourism? What does it mean to the city and downtown as a whole to have that?
It's really a big part of the image of San Antonio. When you think about a facility of this magnitude, not only does it put us in the very top elite group of the best convention centers in the country, but it really helps us to grow our business from a convention perspective, and of course attracts leisure tourism as well.
It really means more business for San Antonio, thanks to the efforts of City Council and Mayor and having such a great facility now completed. You know, it's a city in transformation, so now we have the challenge of the San Antonio Convention Business Bureau is to bring more business and book more business, but I think that based on the comments that we hear around major meeting planners is a reality. So with Mike Sawaya's team and Cassandra Matias' team, we really have an incredible future ahead of us.
One of the things that this project made possible is the old part of the convention center was torn down, creates a new opportunity for a great civic park for the locals as well as our tourists to enjoy.
Again, it's a city of transformation, so I agree with Mike that Hemisphere, downtown, the Riverwalk, the Alamo, you start adding, this is a major convention center. Now we can really play in the big roles, but it also presents a lot of challenges. This is a very competitive industry, so we got to be selling almost daily. And we have a great sales team in the Convention Business Bureau, but I can tell you this is an extremely competitive business.
It's important for us to create points of difference when we're in a hyper-competitive industry like tourism is, or like convention sales is. So this building actually is forward-thinking, and it really puts us at the top of the competitiveness.
What I like about the convention center right now is a reality, but it also brings us closer to the Alamo Dome. In the past, you could see 2 to 3 blocks away. Now with the great work done by the city and Mike's team, all the landscaping, all the sidewalks, you're right next door to the Alamo Dome, so you're really using 2 facilities in one. And it has really transformed the Alamo Dome, the convention center, and the future Hemisphere.
In fact, we're told this is the largest cantilever of its kind in the United States. It's truly an architectural feat to be able to build something like this, but the best thing is it really showcases and highlights our city.
It's almost like the downtown is our living room, and we have a lot to do. A lot of investing to do in the future of San Antonio, and the city is already doing it. So look at the airport and all the infrastructure improvements for San Antonio. You know, the getting World Heritage for the San Antonio missions. You know, that's a huge award recognition for San Antonio, but also look at all the improvements at the airport and the future car rental facility, and everything is just lining up for a bright future for San Antonio.
Well, we have a lot of public shows that bring people into our facilities, you know, whether it's the car show that happens once a year, or whether it's a Comic-Con that draws from the region. There are a lot of things that we've done in the past, but now in the future with having one of our exhibit halls, 87,000 square feet, column-free, our expectation is that we'll bring more locals into our facility for public shows.
All the local events that also Mike and his team host here, you know, we have all the annual meetings and galas and fundraisers for a lot of nonprofits. But you start adding the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce, the San Antonio Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, there's a lot of local events hosted here at this great convention center.
Well, we generally, over a course of a good year, over 300 events a year. We're well ahead of our last 5-year pace. We're coming off our best years ever, and our future is very bright.
Well, I only got one last thing to say. I'm ready to get off this cantilever because I don't know if you know this, but I'm afraid of heights. So, thank you. Let's talk a little bit about arts and culture in San Antonio. What can we do to help bring and revive arts and culture, align the arts, as we've said, in San Antonio? What can we do?
I think collaboration is not always necessarily easy. We like to talk about it, and we like to think about it and dream about it, but it really actually takes a lot of work. And we're doing some collaborations now, the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center, and what we found is it really challenges us, as well as the collaborators, to communicate really clearly, to plan even more in advance than we usually do. So it really just takes a lot of hard work, and I think that's why it's not always as easy as we want it to be for our different organizations to work together and align our priorities.
You have to have a big mix of different kinds of activities happening. So, I mean, our goal is to bring the greatest of world art to our community so that everyone can experience that and learn from that. But you also do have to make room for local artists in that dialogue always. And I think there's a nice balance that the community does achieve a lot. And we have had some controversies, but I think that's part of the growth of what the city will come to eventually. And with that, if everyone were just aligned and there was no ripple of disturbance, then artists would not be doing their jobs, I would say.
I think the city can help put our local artists into conversation with artists from other communities, other cities. I think that kind of exchange can be really valuable for the artists here in opening them up to new approaches to the work and to really taking their work to the next level. So that kind of mentorship, that kind of exchange with artists from other places could be a really great approach.
The other thing is that the city we're about to go into our tricentennial celebration, and I think that this is a huge opportunity for the city to support its arts and cultural endeavors in a way that will raise their profile nationally. So right now, San Antonio, we're the 7th largest city in the United States, but not the largest media market. So I think that with the tricentennial efforts that the arts and cultural will have a very central part in those celebrations of that year, and that people outside of San Antonio will suddenly start to realize what the great resources are here. The great music scene, great theater scene, just the incredibly rich cultural heritage, and then incredibly vibrant visual artists as well. So I think that will be a fantastic opportunity, and that's one thing the city is doing now, is by really supporting the tricentennial, making it a focal point for the arts.
I think San Antonio has such a unique history, such a unique blend of cultures. I can't think of many other cities that can offer that, and many other cities that have artists working from those traditions, combining those traditions, being hybrid, playing off traditions that are really rich. So I think the more we can emphasize that and tell that story to our local audiences and to a national audience, the better off we'll be to really treasure the rich and diverse heritage that we have artistically.
I think the big goal is to express that diversity, to express all the great things that we have in our city. Thank you guys for joining me.
Of course, thank you for having us.
Huge effort.
Thank you. Good conversation.
Yeah, I just wish we'd had it over lunch instead of like in front of a camera, but it's better
we can still
late
have
than
lunch.
never.
We can still have lunch.
That, right?
Y'all can go have lunch. Healthy environments are accessible environments, are sustainable environments. You want to talk a little bit about those things?
That sustainability and accessibility are the only things that keep us moving forward. And I call it universal design. And my job in the city is to promote universal design in everything we do, not just in housing and not just in transportation or education, but make it universally sustainable and accessible so that people of all kinds, but especially those with disabilities that have a difficult time with the system that we created around them, to free them of that burden of having to worry about where they go because they may not be able to get in.
When you think about accessibility and sustainability, I tend to think of a San Antonio where everyone and everything thrives. There's just an opportunity for us all. And so at the food bank, we're addressing those communities that lack access to healthy foods by hosting farmers markets and food deserts and creating an environment where people can get access to healthy food. But then when you think about sustainability, man, it's the win-win-wins that are created. Many know that we have about 10% of our energy that comes from the sun. We're harnessing wind energy. We're also capturing rainwater on site. All of us can do a little bit around sustainability, whether it's recycling paper or corrugated or plastics. We can also think of food waste as a form of recycling. Many of our downtown venues, we host so many visitors and guests. There's an opportunity to rescue those leftover foods that would sometimes go to waste and get those to the hungry. So when you think about just that, the preventing food waste while supporting the those that are hungry, it actually is just creating such a sustainable win for our entire community.
There's no separation, as he said, there's no separation. And it goes as far as the Americans with Disabilities Act is civil rights legislation. It's not architectural barriers. But because architectural barriers are at fault for isolating people, And that's true of both poor people and people with disabilities. It's our environment that isolates people from the goods and services that they should have. So that's why we work so closely with all of the city departments to make sure all of their programs are easy to access physically. And that includes programs that the food bank runs. And I think the awareness in this city of the real meaning of the Americans with Disabilities Act is clearer than any city I've been in. It isn't just physical barriers, it's policy, procedures, and programs.
The consciousness of inclusiveness, really making an environment where everybody's welcomed. It celebrates the diversity of our community, it celebrates the uniqueness of our community, but it does it in a way that everyone can gain full participation. It doesn't matter your socioeconomics, it doesn't matter your abilities or disabilities, it doesn't matter your ethnicity. San Antonio is this vibrant city that all of us have come together, we choose to live here, and I think when we make it accessible, when we make it attainable for everyone, that's really the power of accessibility and sustainability.
Well, thank you both. Thank you for championing inclusivity and community for a great downtown. Thank you very
for
much.
inviting me.
The main goal is to really help a community that's about to celebrate 300 years find a way to sort of look into the future and find new generations that are going to contribute to the city core. What are we doing? What are we bringing to downtown that is innovative, that is different, that is special?
From a city perspective, certainly our leadership, folks like yourself, have asked us to focus on technology. We really want to encourage entrepreneurial development. That's one of the 3 legs of the economic development foundation that we've set. We do a great job recruiting companies, we do a great job helping companies expand, but what we really want to focus on, because that's really where the net new jobs are coming from, is entrepreneurial development, helping those startups. So initiatives like Cafe Commerce at the Central Library is a great example, connecting entrepreneurs with those people who can mentor them and make things happen. Really focused on that. Supporting organizations like Geekdom is another great way the city really gets involved to do that.
So from our first conversations with the City of San Antonio, it became very clear that there was a burgeoning tech ecosystem and tech environment. And so that's definitely something that exists that we're excited to be a part of. When Google Fiber announced that we were officially committed to coming to the San Antonio market, there's just been an outpour of support from that community. And they've really made our company feel welcome and the employees feel welcome. So I think it's been really important it'll be important for our success to have, that ecosystem in place and that community in place that, will really support us in our efforts as we grow out. Locating our offices here in the Rand Building is a very, deliberate decision, and I think our employees are really excited about being a part of this environment, taking advantage of all that downtown has to offer, from the walkability to the other startup companies that are around. Entrepreneurship is something that is very important to us, and so I think that having our office here in the future is going to be something that will contribute to that ecosystem, but also as we continue to grow out the infrastructure and invest in the infrastructure of San Antonio.
And it's key for a lot of different reasons. Certainly what's going to continue to keep this city growing is a strong, educated, young, professional workforce. And really that's one of our pain points. And developing downtown, developing the urban core, putting in this ecosystem, it's key to attracting those millennials. And it's those millennials that really industry's looking for to help their companies grow.
I think millennials are looking for a lifestyle that is a little different from other generations, and that I think we're very attracted to the idea of community and being closer together. I myself have always wanted to live downtown. I'm from San Antonio, and so now since recently moving back, it's one of the things I was very intentional about doing. And I think just having more of an environment that is walkable and that has things that we all want to do that are close together, I think is something that is attractive to some millennials. I certainly can't speak for all millennials, but I know that personally that's something that is important to me.
Trust a single word you say. It doesn't scar and hurt. Tell me why would I need you? Something wrong with everything I do, and I don't think you have the slightest idea how the thing's supposed to work.
want to talk a little bit about what can we do to bring more housing to San Antonio. Not just more housing, but affordable housing, workforce housing. We want more people to come and live downtown. How do we do that?
Right. Well, in 2010, we initiated an incentive program under our C-CHIP guidelines to increase housing downtown to meet the SA 2020 goal of 7,500 units downtown. I'm happy to say we're more than halfway there. Some of those projects have been affordable housing, but a majority of them have not. So we're trying to look at that to see what can we do to increase more affordable workforce housing downtown.
The idea is to go ahead and have a mixed income community in the center of downtown where people can actually walk to work. It would be so great in our service industry if people can go ahead and walk to work, walk home, and take advantage of all the wonderful things that we have in the downtown area. So again, a mixed income, mixed use community being built in Hemisphere, I think, is a good example for what we can do throughout the downtown area.
We consider downtown to be everybody's neighborhood. So I think that was the strategy in 2010, was to have a housing first strategy, to get people to move downtown first, and then have housing first, and then have the retail and other businesses kind of follow that.
If the city's making an investment, then the city can make some demands on what can be done from an affordability standpoint. And I think we need to keep working forward to that, looking how we can codify that to make it fair to the developers, but also make it fair to the citizens for workforce housing.
Much of downtown is already in a zoning overlay with historic designation, but recently, a few years ago, we added a downtown design guideline to any property that's Zone D in downtown. So we've started to implement some design regulations to help kind of mold or help the design of those buildings. So I think we're getting there. We're looking at this year with the C-CHIP incentive package, some amendments. One of those would include for those properties that are not within one of those zoning overlays, that they would also be required to go through a design review process as well.
So I think the big message is that we always have to have a dynamic housing strategy for not just downtown, but for the entire city.
Yes.
Sure, I think so, and I think that complements what's happening with the planning effort that's currently in process as well. So identify those areas, and not just downtown, but also in other areas of town. Where do we really want to see the city grow, and where are those housing needs really at?
Well, thank you both for all you do for our city. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's why we're here, to demonstrate what kind of infrastructure investment we have. And Mike, tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here. What's this about?
Well, so downtown investment's not going to happen unless downtown is protected. So we're at the San Antonio River Tunnel Inlet, and many people aren't aware of this facility, but this is a 24-foot diameter pipe that goes 150 feet down in the ground. It goes down underneath all of downtown, and it comes back up south of downtown. And so this was built in 1997, right before the big flood of '98. And this protects downtown from getting flooded. This infrastructure like this is what protects areas like downtown, so that the investments can happen, and that you're seeing with the tower and many other investments. Great facility here.
You know, it's the first tower downtown in 30 years, and it's on the site of Frostbank's old motor bank. And I think the first thing that people will see visually in terms of progress will be late summer, early fall, and the first thing that folks will be able to watch is a foundation go in, so a lot of activity, and it will appear as though the foundation is the first thing that we do, but way before the foundation is the infrastructure. And so the investments that the city has made, both along the creek, along Houston Street, and all of downtown really. That's even before the foundation. And without those investments from the city to not only protect our collective city assets downtown, but to enhance them, something like Frost Tower would not be happening.
Yeah, it's important to manage the infrastructure and keep everybody safe and efficient, and so that's what we do. So there's dedicated city staff 24/7 that are operating throughout the city, making sure that people don't have to worry about that thing. We don't want people to have to worry about whether they're going to get flooded, whether traffic's going to be an issue, and so constantly people are working to ensure that things are maintained well and safe and operate well.
Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks for all you do.
You bet. Yeah,
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
We look forward to your development. Thank you.
Sword plays on my resume, I'd write some down quick. Cause I'm going to town, getting a job, gonna try my hand in this, and it's a sick, sad world, I know, but I still gotta go. That's how I get to see.
One of the benefits of taking the bus is you can take your time, have a great conversation like what we're having right now. And I think most importantly, it really helps our downtown grow. It helps our downtown expand. Providing that connectivity is very, very special and very important to our city.
Every vehicle in our fleet has free Wi-Fi, and that includes all the Via Trans vans. We're the first major transit authority in the United States to offer free Wi-Fi throughout their entire fleet. So I tell my brother in San Jose that they're not as cool as they think.
That is pretty cool.
This vehicle specifically is an electric hybrid vehicle, so it uses diesel and electric to operate. But we are about to order up to 500 new buses to replace the diesel buses in our fleet with compressed natural gas, which are, as you know, cleaner. Cost of fuel is less, so we'll actually save money from a fueling perspective. With our fare changes that we made in January, we are for the first time offering active military people half fare on our system. So it's to really honor those that are serving the country in Military City, USA. It seems only appropriate. We also introduced a weekly pass, $12 a week for unlimited rides. So I always tell our people that our passes are supposed to work like the buffet line. You know, that you'll ride and you'll ride and you'll ride as opposed to paying a la carte. And we lowered the price of a day pass from $4 to $2.75. So trying to get passes in our people's hands so that they'll feel free to ride more frequently. We partnered with Uber because one of the beauties of the partnership of Uber and Via is you get picked up at your home and you ultimately get dropped off at your home, and so you can party and be safe at the same time, as opposed to having to get in your car when you get back to the lot. So that's a great partnership that we really want to build on. Downtown, as I said, is kind of this confluence, this central meeting place. And so in early June, we are going to implement a series of routes that we're calling Viva. They will be on specially branded buses. It would be impossible to not recognize the Viva bus.
Okay.
And we'll have 3 routes. They all actually cross at Alamo Plaza, which is a natural meeting place for people, both people who live here and people who visit here. And one of the routes will be called Viva Missions. And it starts at that first mission and it travels south to the other missions, stopping only at the missions and major cross streets, so it makes for a quicker trip. The second route will be called Viva Culture, and that will go north up Broadway. There'll be a split at one point. Some of the buses will take you to the zoo and the botanical gardens, and the others will continue all the way through to the matinee. And then in the evening, when those locations aren't open, they'll turn back at the Pearl. So that route will connect basically Blue Star, Southtown, and the Pearl in the evening, so it's a great entertainment. And then the third route, we're calling Centro for downtown, right? And so it will begin at Central Plaza over on the west side, right outside the building, my office building. The Viva Centro will start over there. It will travel through downtown. It will travel in a route that touches the Tobin, gets down to the convention center, then continues over to St. Paul Square. So effectively, it's the east and the west side. And VIA has plans for the redevelopment of the Robert Thompson Transit Center at St. Paul Square. So it's a great connector. You get to Alamo Plaza, you can get throughout downtown, you can get Mission Reach, you can get Museum Reach on the Viva routes that will debut on June 6th. Thanks for riding VIA. You know, it's a great way to get around your entire district.
No doubt about
Yep.
it. After you.
But if I get up in the morning, I'm the only one on the planet. But I gotta get up, gotta get up, I gotta get up.
I think it's really important that we address probably one of the most important projects we have going on downtown, and that's the effort here at the Alamo. Let's talk a little bit about the great layers of history and the importance of this project. Can we speak to that?
Well, Mayor, you know, one of the exciting things about coming downtown and seeing this spot is that we go back to 1724 in this spot, and the committee that Roberto's serving on, the Alamo Management Committee of 6 members, are looking at those layers all the way back to 1724, coming forward to the battle in 1836 and all the way to the present. So we promised you that we would have no small thoughts and make no small plans, and I just stepped out of an all-morning meeting where we're actually planning the master planning process, and we've only been at this, 4 months, Roberto, and the process is going extremely well, and I just want to report to you that it's I think it's an extremely exciting time for San Antonio and for the state of Texas.
Oh, of course, it's so important. The Alamo is such a critical part, central part of San Antonio. When people think of San Antonio, they tend to think of the Alamo, but we know that it doesn't just belong to us, it belongs to the state, and it belongs to our entire nation. It's a great demonstration of what our historical trajectory has been as a community.
We've got some outstanding firms working for us. PDP from Philadelphia, the members of that team have worked on the Supreme Court, the Virginia State House that was designed by Thomas Jefferson, and Independence Hall in Philadelphia. They're working on it. GDU, which is already working in the city, landscape architects from Mexico City, working on the San Pedro project, and Fisher Heck from San Antonio, the architectural firm, who's providing a lot of work here on the ground, and they've already done a lot of work in San Antonio. So we have this team, and what we're doing this morning in our meeting is we're looking out to the other consultants. We could have as many as 29 or 30 consultants. We're talking historians, archaeologists, lighting consultants, interpretive designers, to make this place a world-class site when we finish. And one of the things that we think is important, Mayor, is we look all the way to the headwaters of the San Antonio River at the Blue Hole, and we want to take this history lesson all the way through the Alamo and the other 4 missions along the river and tell the story of water and San Antonio and the missions and the various levels, as Roberto said, about history here, the Spaniards being here, the Padres coming to convert the indigenous people, and they're living at the site and living and dying at this site right where we stand. And so it's really an exciting time. And as you said, the citizens of Texas love this place. And in fact, we see down on the plaza every day citizens of the world come here to see the Alamo, and they don't know the history. They know the battle, but many of them don't know the great history.
Quite appropriate. We heard some kids chanting in the background. There's always school kids coming through this site. I think they have learned about often just the battle, that one moment in history, but again, we want them to understand the whole continuum of all the things that have happened at the site, how it's been central to our city's development, how it's been a point of inspiration for the state and for the nation, but how it continues to be part of our forward movement and how they are part of our forward movement and our future for our community.
And we can say the eyes of Texas are on us. Huh?
They sure are.
Well, thank you, Gene.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mayor.
This is me, bowing out gracefully. I don't want to say that I've let things go undone. the dust.